Your home should support your life, not drain it. I'm Katie Trudeau, and this is the Whole Home Living Podcast. Here, we talk about simple, plant forward eating, realistic rhythms, and small systems that help your home work with you, not against you. No perfection, no pressure, just practical shifts that make everyday life feel lighter, calmer, and more nourishing. Let's get into today's episode. It's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I'm in the drive-thru line again with my toddler in the back seat. I'm exhausted. There's food at home, but nothing I can actually turn into a meal in the next 20 minutes. You know how that goes. And I'm thinking, how did I end up here? If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. I'm Katie, and this is Whole Home Living, where we nourish your whole life, not just your plate. Around here, we talk about real food that energizes you, homes that feel like sanctuary, rhythms that ground your family, and living with intention. Everything is rooted in faith and built on love. This is holistic living made practical. Think plant-based meals, cozy spaces, resilient minds. It's a home and a life that actually holds. So let's dive in. But first, we're going to time travel. I'm going to take you back to 2009. My then fiance, now husband, and I thought that we had healthy eating figured out. We carried around a little notebook everywhere. We were trying to lose the freshman 15 before our wedding. So we wrote down everything we ate. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, everything. We wrote it down. Ice cream. Sure, as long as it fit the calorie budget for the day, onto the page it goes. Gas station candy bar. Why not? Calories are calories, right? So we thought. On paper, we were succeeding. Use air quotes there. But here's the truth. I felt terrible. I was still hungry. Even though on paper it looks like I had met my calorie deficit, I was still hungry. My mood was all over the place. I'd hit my calorie goal, and an hour later, feel ravenous again. So something wasn't quite adding up. And I didn't know what else to do. Every diet I'd ever tried was about eating less, not eating better. No one ever focused on eating better. So I just kept tracking, kept restricting, and kept wondering why I didn't have energy. I also, at the time, gave myself shin splints trying to run off extra calories without any good training plan, but more on that later. Eventually, we wisened up, but in the meantime, we're going to time travel again to 2011. And that was when I was pregnant with my first son, and that's when things really started to shift. I remember standing in the grocery store holding a box of something. I don't even remember what it was. But for the first time, I was actually reading the ingredient list first instead of just jumping to the calories or the fat grams. I was going to the ingredient list first. And on whatever this box was, I had no idea what these ingredients were. And that's when it started to hit me because it wasn't just about me anymore. I was growing another human being. So I started asking questions that I'd never asked before. What am I actually putting in my body? Not how much am I putting in my body, but what am I putting in my body? You can't run off a bad ingredient. I also wanted to know, where does this food come from? Is this really nourishing me and my baby, or am I just eating this because it's convenient? And that was my label awakening. I started reading everything, seriously, everything from toothpaste to sunscreen, shampoo. It was a rabbit hole. It was a big rabbit hole. And honestly, I was very shocked. So much of what I'd been eating wasn't food. It was just more like a science experiment. Preservatives, artificial colors, ingredients I couldn't and probably still can't pronounce. And I realized I'd been choosing drive-thrus not because they were better for me, but because I didn't have another plan. It was cheap and it was there. But all of that needed to change. Okay, we're on time travel again. This time we're fast forwarding to the early 2020s. So by now, I'd been reading, researching, experimenting with different ways of eating, and I started heavily leaning into plant-based whole food nutrition. Not because of a trendy documentary or a celebrity diet, but because I noticed something, is that when I ate real food, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, I actually felt good. I felt better than on any other way of eating that I'd ever tried. I had energy, my brain wasn't foggy, I wasn't crashing at 3 p.m. Baby weight was finally coming off 6 years after the fact. And here's the thing that nobody else is going to tell you. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to eat kale at every meal or give up everything you love. But you do need a framework. You need some way to make decisions that actually support your body instead of sabotaging it. You need a home environment that makes healthy eating the easy choice, not the hard one. And that's why I created Whole Home Living. Because once I figured this out for myself, I couldn't stop thinking about all of the other families that were stuck in the drive-through line, wondering how they got there too. You deserve better, and it's way more doable than you think. So, what can you expect from this podcast? Every week, I'm going to share practical strategies that you can actually use. No fads, no detoxes, none of this eat like me and you'll be perfect shtick. None of that. Just real life tips for feeding yourself and your family in a way that feels good. We'll talk about how to balance your meals so you actually stay full and energized. Remember, 2009 me was always hungry, but you don't have to feel that way either. You just have to learn how to balance your meals. You'll learn simple systems for making better food choices without obsessing over every calorie. Fun fact here, I'm going off script for a second. There's a lot of research for plant-based eating is that if you're actually eating no processed foods and plant-based, there isn't as big of a need to actually count your calories. In fact, a lot of people find that they end up eating more on a plant-based diet because it's lower calorie density food. Okay, back to my script. Here we go. You'll also learn how to meal prep. You'll learn about pantry hacks that don't require you to be in the hours every day in the kitchen. You'll learn how to create a home environment that supports your health instead of sabotaging it. And we're going to have honest conversations about the mental, emotional, and the spiritual side of all of this because health isn't just about food. It's holistic. There's many parts of you, many pieces that make up you. All in all, this isn't about being perfect. It's about progress, taking where you are now and just taking that next step. It's about building habits that stick because those habits actually fit in your life. And listen, I'm not a doctor or a registered dietitian. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a health coach, and someone who's been in the trenches figuring this out just like you. I'll always point you to evidence-based information. I love a good PubMed study, but what I'm really here to do is make it practical to help you take what you learn and actually do something with it. So, in the next few episodes, here's what's coming. We'll talk about balanced eating, how to build meals that keep you satisfied and energized without counting every macro. We'll also learn about macros and micros. Then we'll dive into something I call traffic light eating. Super simple system for making better food choices without the stress. And after that, we'll get into meal prep strategies that actually work for busy families because who has time to spend all Sunday in the kitchen? Trust me, you're going to want to subscribe so you don't miss any of this. And hey, if you want to get started right now, I've got something for you. You can grab our pantry reset guide. It's in the show notes. It is loaded with everything you need to get started. It's got a list of ingredients to avoid. It's got shopping cheat sheets. I've got a Costco one on there. Also tips for your regular grocery store as well. There's a couple recipes in there. There's a SMART goal sheet, so you can write down your big why. Why do you want to go on this journey? Everything you need is there. It's a big doozy. So grab that in the show notes and you will set yourself up for easy, healthy meals all week long. If today's episode was helpful, take a moment to share it with someone who could use a little more ease around food and home. You can also leave a review. It helps more families find whole home living. For simple resources, practical tools, and upcoming workshops, visit wholehomeliving365.com. And remember, eating well doesn't require perfection. It just needs a system that works with your life. I'm Katie Trudeau. See you next time.